Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Namkakaza. Manyamza. Molweni.
Molweni Chen, njani tata?
Siphila no Khondo njani?
Siphilile sihlala Khondo.
Any apologies?
Chair, I've got 3 apologies from the minister. They are not able to attend, Chair.
You said you have apologies from the minister.
Yes, Minister, DM Kappa and DM Squatch.
Or the entire executive?
Yes, Chair.
All right. Manyamza, any further apologies? Manyamza, any further apologies? Okay, honorable members, before we get underway, any apologies on your side?
Yes, Chair, Mr. Kulu.
Dabezit, Kosenkulu.
Ndiyakhuleka Mhlekazi. My request that by 4 o'clock I have a commitment, so I might be leaving at 3:45.
Abulela Ndabezita will try and wrap it up before 4 o'clock, as many of us travel on a Friday. So we'll try and ensure that we have concluded and wrapped up by then.
Thank you.
Honorable members, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to the Portfolio Committee meeting on Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. Molweni, Dumelang, Bakaetsu. Good afternoon. Goeiemiddag. Honorable members, today we will be having a presentation on the plant and health phytosanitary to ensure and remind members about what the bill seeks to achieve, of which I will take the opportunity to invite the department to present, who will then be followed by our content advisors, as well as the Parliamentary Legal Services. Allow me, therefore, honorable members, to invite the department to present before the Portfolio Committee. Thank you.
Chair, good afternoon. This is Julian Yafta speaking. I am the acting DDG for Agricultural Production, Biosecurity and Natural Resource Management. Can I just get an indication, Chairperson, if the presentation is visible? Chair,
yes,
is it visible?
Proceed.
Okay, sure.
Yes, it's visible. You may proceed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Chair, you will recall that on the 19th of May, we did a presentation on the first round of presentations on the Phytosanitary Bill or the Plant Health Bill. And today we just aim to give the committee just an update again of what the bill seeks to achieve, because we also understand that there's a follow-up assessment that's going to be done by the content advisor as well as the legal advisor. So the presentation will go into key concepts of that is used throughout the bill, as well as then going into selected areas of the bill. Now, phytosanitary measures, you will come across the bill, and this definition is a phytosanitary measure. It refers to official measures or regulations or procedures which are aimed at ensuring that the introduction and or spread of quarantine pests are prevented, or to limit the economic impact of regulated non-quarantine pests. A quarantine pest is a pest that has a potential economic impact to the area that it endangers, and it is not yet present in that area, or where it is present, it is not widely distributed and is subject to official control. A regulated pest means any quarantine pest or a regulated non-quarantine pest. Now, South Africa is a member of the WTO agreement on sanitary and phytosanitary measures. And it's important that mention this, because this sanitary and phytosanitary agreement also aims to ensure that members applies rules or phytosanitary measures that are science-based, that are non-discriminatory, and in that way not trade restrictive. South Africa is also a member of the International Plant Protection Convention, which also is a standard-setting body that informs the phytosanitary measures. Now, again, Chairperson, what is the problem that we are trying to address? Obviously, the introduction and spread of pests can be very damaging and can have a negative impact on South Africa's biosecurity condition or situation, or agricultural production, and subsequently also impact on our food security. And the economic impact can be felt when we don't have access to markets. There is an existing piece of legislation in the form of the Agricultural Pest Act, but the challenge with this act is that it predates the Constitution, it predates South Africa's membership or accession to the International Plant Protection Convention. So we don't have, so the Agricultural Pest Act does not have definitions that aligns to the IPPC's standards. It also does not provide for the National Plant Protection Organization as required by the International Plant Protection Convention, and it also does not provide for export control. So the Act speaks about import, but it does not give us the scope to regulate export, re-export, or in-transit control. The Act in current format only emphasizes import and national control. Now, the importance of export control obviously comes from the need for us to ensure that when we export goods, plant products, and plants and plant products, that we reduce the number of interceptions within the territories of our trading partners. It gives them a better assurance that our products are good, and also that it ultimately contributes to safe and fair international trade, and also then the maintenance of those markets, and also helps us to generate foreign control, foreign revenue. In terms of the timeline of the bill, we have gone through the process as prescribed. I just again want to emphasize that the bill was introduced to the National Assembly already in July 2020, 2021 and referred to this committee. And as I've indicated, we had our first briefing to this committee in May 2023. Just to give you an overview of the existing legislation, which provides for the measures by which agricultural pests may be prevented or combated. There are three main areas of control. There is exercise, where we control the importation of goods with an import permit. So an import permit would now have certain conditions that must be adhered to prevent the introduction of plant pests and diseases. And secondly, there is the importation of controlled goods without a permit based on our assessment that such goods presents a lower risk. And then again, the control of regulated plant pests and diseases within the country. And we have regulations that support those broad areas of control, and these regulations are updated as and when it is necessary. So the proposed amendments, we will go through the different clauses, but the advice at the point at which the amendment was initiated was for us to initiate or to do a full repeal of the Agricultural Pest Act. So the objectives of the bill, Chairperson and members, is to provide for phytosanitary measures, for control measures to prevent the introduction and establishment and spread of regulated pests in order to safeguard South Africa's agriculture and our natural plant resources. And in turn, having these measures in place, it allows us safe and fair international as well as domestic trade, helps us to maintain markets, to access new markets, to have crop production and food security in place, and subsequently an impact is, or an outcome is also then the economic growth and job creation. The bill, this just gives you the overview of the main areas of the bill. It has a definitions section. There's a section that allows the establishment of the National Plant Protection Organization of South Africa. Now, here again, I want to emphasize that this is not a separate organization that we are establishing. This is what is required in terms of the International Plant Protection Convention. So it is an organization of the existing directorates, plant health, inspection services, and food import and export standards, and these already exist within the department, but they have their separate functions to conform to what is required in terms of the International Plant Protection Convention. Then there's import. There's a section that speaks to import control, national control of plant pests and diseases, where there's measures to prevent the movement of infected material, and more importantly, like we've indicated, export control, which was not there previously, as well as re-export control, because sometimes a consignment comes into South Africa, but it then needs to be re-exported to a neighboring or another country, and it allows us now the legal mandate or power to then issue a new or re-export phytosanitary certificate in line with our international obligations. Chair, mindful that the legal and content advisor will go through the specific sections of the bill. I'm not going to go into too much detail in terms of the clause by clause analysis, but just to touch on a few. Obviously, there's a detailed section that speaks to the definition. Section 4, 2 and 3 refers to who's responsible for the legislation, as well as the powers assigned to the minister. Section 4 relates to the control measures that the minister may prescribe for users or occupiers of land to ensure the objects of the bill is achieved, and these control measures that may be imposed includes the restriction of movement of infected material. Then there's a designation of an executive officer who's responsible for executing the functions of the Act, and this is designated by the minister. There's a section 6 then deals with what is the power of that executive officer in terms of who and what he can instruct to be done to achieve the objectives of the Act. Section 7 deals with the orders that can be issued to with regards to land, which must be which can include that the portion of the land can be quarantined, and again movement in and out of that area. And then section 9, 10, and 11, my apologies, it should say section 9, 10, and 11 deals with the establishment of the National Plant Protection Organization, and I've already alluded to that. 12, around the import regulations to prevent the spread and introduction of regulated pests. 13 speaks about regulated articles that may be imported only on the authority of a permit and under certain conditions. 14 is the important one where we speak to export of regulated articles. 15, similarly, re-export, as I've explained, and 16 in terms of the in-transit requirements that must be adhered to when a consignment just transits South Africa into another country. 17 deals with the declaration of regulated pests by the executive officer, and this can be both quarantine pests or regulated non-quarantine pests. 18 deals with the compulsory notification. This is an obligation that is placed on the user and occupier of a land to notify when there is a quarantine pest on his or her land. 19, 20, and 21 again deals with the declaration of quarantine areas, pest-free areas, or pest-free places and sites of production. This is particularly important when we are dealing with exports where a particular importing country might have a concern, but the Act then allows us to declare certain areas either quarantine areas or pest-free areas or areas of production. Then Section 22 then deals with the assignment of powers, where the minister can confer certain or assign certain powers or duties to a juristic person or other organs of state to execute the provisions of the bill. 28 deals with offenses and penalties, and 30 deals with the regulations that the minister may make, and then 31 deals with compensation regarding certain matters within the bill. Chairperson, in terms of the consultations that were undertaken, we had extensive consultation with respect to as required, other government department, provincial departments, other entities such as commodity organizations that perform certain functions such as the Perishable Products Exports Control Board, research institutions, traders, importers, exporters, as well as the general public. The bill, in its current form, has no additional financial implications, mindful that the department has over the years reprioritized.
Recording in progress.
The department has reprioritized funding to ensure that we support overall biosecurity in the department, but we have also, from the plant health perspective, had additional MTF allocations. And as I've indicated, the existing directorates within the department forms key functions that supports the plant health bill. So, Chairperson, it is therefore our recommendation is for the committee to consider this briefing and hope that it then informs the further deliberations from the content advisor. I am joined by other technical people who can also assist when there are other further technical questions. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members. That is the presentation from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. Allow me to invite the content advisors to also present on this presentation we've received. And Dr. Manenje and Mam Kashe, you may go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair. Thank you. And good afternoon, members. The input from us on this stage is mainly on the policy issues regarding the bill to assist in guiding the committee if when deciding to proceed and process the legislation. From my part, there are no specific policy issues regarding the bill, as there is already an existing policy on plant health, and that informs the legislation, which was approved in 2014 already. And the issues that I would have questions on specifically for the department are not necessarily on the policy side, but on the implementation side. At this stage, the specific comments on each clause, which are mainly editorial in nature, I think we can just raise those when the committee is actually processing the legislation. And those relate to communication, just to standardize it with previous legislation where notices are generally only published in the government gazette. So that's also the case bill, because it is a 76 and it's also likely to affect different kinds of land users. One of the identified constraints in terms of implementation through the socioeconomic impact assessments report was budgetary constraints and inadequate resources. Dr. Yafta has mentioned that there won't be any challenges in terms of financial resources as they are reprioritizing. However, the National Plant Protection Organization of South Africa, which exists already, but now is going to be legally established through the bill, will need to bear the costs of the implementation of the phytosanitary measures that will be implemented through the bill. And there might be additional costs in this respect, particularly since, as Dr. Yafta has mentioned, the existing legislation which is the agricultural pest, doesn't necessarily address exports, which will be included, which are included in the current legislation. So in 2015, during the time of the SAYAS reports, the department estimated an additional 50 million that will be required a year for the National Plant Protection Organization to carry out its functions as envisaged in this legislation and also mandated by the convention which the country is a signatory to. So it would be helpful to find out from the department if there is enough budget. If there isn't, to carry out the functions, how does it plan to generate the additional funding to ensure that the bill is effectively implemented? Because currently members, I think, have raised, even in the past year, the small budget that has been allocated for biosecurity over the medium term. I think it's about 4.5 million per annum, which is far less the 50 million that will be required, as was envisaged in the SAYAS report. And one other point also relates to implementation. Some of the functions of the organization, the NPPO, that will be established through the legislation is to conduct pest risk analysis. And in the SAYAS report, the department did acknowledge that the required skills in plant pathology and other related disciplines to carry out the pest risk analysis are some of the scarcest skills in the country. So it would be useful to find out from the department how is it currently addressing the scarcity of the required skills, and also to ensure that the policy for plant health and this legislation, once passed into law, will be effectively implemented. And the last point is in terms of border management. And with respect to all the functions that will be required through this legislation in terms of imports, export, re-export, and transit, and the issuance of phytosanitary certificates in this regard. Maybe the department should indicate if there is enough capacity and particularly the required resources to carry out inspections on important consignments, particularly on all ports of entry, that is land, sea, and air. Those are the main issues that I have questions on. Unfortunately, I don't really have answers. The department might have the answers. Otherwise, the legislation itself is long overdue, as South Africa is mandated as the signatory to the World Trade Organization SPS agreement and the convention to have this legislation, and also the NPPO that will be established. That is all from my side, Chair.
Thank you, Ma'am Kashe. Dr. Manenje, any further additions?
Good afternoon, Chair. No further input. I think Kashe covered it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Kashe and Dr. Manenje, honorable members. That is the content advisors of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. Allow me to also thank the Department of Agriculture on their presentation on plant health phytosanitary. I will now open the session for questions of clarity or comments on the presentations. Honorable Tape.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to members and everybody in this meeting. Chair, Ma'am Kasha is right that this is an overdue kind of legislation. When we started this term, we battled with the questions on phytosanitary issues. And I think we would need to deal with it. I don't have issues or qualms with the presentation by the department, but my comfort will come on their response to issues raised by Mem Kasha, because I was now gonna ask what would make the budgeted funds insufficient. So if they can just deal with the questions that she has put forward and issues of capacity in terms of skills, then I should be satisfied, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Klape. The Honorable Ntate Masipa.
Thobela Mokamedi wa rona. Chair, I really thank you for the opportunity. I don't have much question, but I think the questions will obviously, come as they really respond to the questions that were posed by Mayor Nokzolo. But I think the one point that I just want to make is that we have just passed the signing of the plant, what you call plant genetics but treaty with within the FAO organization. And I think the question that I have is really to ask whether, those considerations were really taken into account in terms of the latest agreements or the latest joining of the FAO in terms of the plant genetics arrangements that we have got within the FAO organization. I think that's all from my side, Chair, but I welcome the work with regards to phytosanitary, because as you know that, we are really battling with the phytosanitary across the country, especially when it comes to animal. But I think we're managing quite well on the plant side. But I think legislation will just help and enhance that, the department really continue to do their best to ensure that, the pests are controlled properly and in time. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Honorable Ntate Masipa. The Honorable Mamutwete. Mamutwete. Baukapa. Baukapa. Papama. Papama.
Apologies, Chair. I forgot to note apologies. She is traveling between East London and PE at the moment. She said she will not be able to join the meeting. My sincere apologies.
Thank you, Agbare Breed.
Hallo voorsitter.
Gaan dit vandag?
Dit gaan goed. Lekker warm in Bloemfontein. It's, I think, 37 here today, so that we're not complaining. That is very good. No, Chairperson, I think Ms. Mdashe actually covered us. I think those are very important things. As we've seen with a lot of other bills, it is very important to look at implementation, to look at the necessary personnel that will be used, the necessary resources. And I think if those questions that she raised are answered, it would be a step in the right direction. I have nothing new to add to that. Thank you so much.
Dankie, agbare breed. Dabezit, Nkosenko.
Angibonge Sihlalo, honored members. I don't have any question or comment on the deliberations, Chair. Did you get me, Chairman?
Dabezit, siyabulela Nkosenko. Honorable members, is there any other honorable member on the platform whom I've not recognized? If not, honorable members, allow me to hand over to the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development officials to respond to the questions and comments from honorable members as well as from our content advisors. You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, and thank you to the committee, honorable members, for your very valuable input. Chairperson, if I can start with the comments and input by the content advisor. Thank you. It was indeed there's evidence that the assessment was very detailed. Chairperson, it is correct that the CS, which was done in 2015, but was updated in 2020, did refer to financial implications. Since then, Chairperson, we've had additional allocations to assist the NPPO with its functions, and we have a breakdown of what the existing budgets are for the NPPO, which obviously, as we respond in written format, we will provide to the committee. Ideally, Chairperson, I think what we ought to have done was to have updated just that section when the CS was again submitted to presidency. But it is indeed so that at the moment we are not asking for any additional funds. It's also important to put into context that even if one considers and engage with other developed countries, Chairperson, you would hear them complain about resources, because this is a very complex field, and you really need very highly specialized individuals to assist with specifically in the area of. Chairperson, am I still audible? My apologies.
Yes, you are. You may proceed.
Sorry, man. So, Chairperson, even in developed countries, there are often concerns around capacity when we speak about risk assessment, because this becomes a very specialized field. So in our local context, Chair, although we have in the last year, 18 months, we have really pushed very hard to fill all of the vacancies within the NPPO. We have also started with key collaboration with universities, other departments such as science and innovation, to strengthen the field of biosecurity research, which then would support our capacity in terms of the pest risk assessment or analysis, or the PRA, as indicated by the content advisor. So there are ongoing attempts, Chairperson, to continuously strengthen our capacity. And the capacity is not just, Chairperson, with respect to our own, with respect to our own domestic pest risk assessment, but it is also our capacity to influence the development of standards within the standard setting bodies, because as I've indicated, Chairperson, the standard setting bodies informs the phytosanitary measures. So that's also an important area of influence, to ensure that no standards are developed that that is outside of or beyond what is required to ensure an adequate level of protection. But again, we will share with the committee where we are in terms of the budget and what are the other measures that we have implemented to strengthen our capacity, Chairperson. Then I will ask my colleagues to speak to what our capacity is, what the capacity is around border management, and how we are dealing with that at the moment. Just to come, I also appreciate the comment from Honorable Tlhape that this is overdue legislation, and we really hope, Chairperson, that this can go through within this administration, because, Chairperson, the absence of the absence of legal force to manage exports is creating a problem. At the moment, we are doing it, but if somebody questions the legal force behind it, they will succeed, because the legislation that is there at the moment does not provide for export control. But it's not that we are not doing it, but it is actually an extension beyond what is provided for within the legislation. Chairperson, the link, Honorable Masipa's question, I'm interpreting it to mean, what is the link between the International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture versus this bill? The treaty, Chairperson, deals with the conservation of plant genetic resources overall, and it can include the kinds of plants like your certain vegetable types, fruit types. Those can be included, but under the auspices of the treaty. But the treaty has the intention for conservation of the biological diversity. The Plant Health Bill supports the conservation of biological diversity in that it ensures that biological diversity is not wiped out by threats such as plant pests and diseases. Although there is this co-support, there is no contradiction between the two, but there is no obligation under the treaty that affects the Plant Health Bill at the moment, Chairperson. Chair, and then let me give over either to Jan Hendrik or to Manda, just to give us some input in terms of the border management and how we deal with that at this point. Thank you, Chair.
Good afternoon, Chair, honourable members. My name is Jan Hendrik Venter. I'm a director for Plant Health. I think it's a good time also that we speak about this in the sense that from 1 April 2023, the Border Management Authority has been in action. And the Border Management Authority also deals with the import of plants and plant products. So they're currently executing the Agricultural Pest Act, and that authority will be provided to them then also in terms of a plant health bill. That means that there's already 245 border guards that across our borderline, as well as seaports and airports, that will be enabled to execute the functions as we are currently doing in terms of imports. In terms of exports, the existing inspection services is already dealing with that. What is essentially important is that South Africa has moved, like many other countries in the world, to an e-certification system, which is a much more secure system, which is already budgeted and paid for, and it goes through the IPPC hub as well. So that provides basically a fraud-proof phytosanitary certificate, which is already a large step ahead in managing our integrity, as well as the need for export certification. Then on national control, the existing inspection services got adequate personnel to continue with their national control. Obviously, there will be through consultation with the Border Management Authority, where there is need for additional resources that can be provided and needs to be done. This also affects our budget in that regard, but as Dr. Jafta has indicated, that since there's been biosecurity funding ring-fenced for the department, the budget is now adequate. I just want to add also in terms of personnel, perhaps, and that is that for scarce skills, mainly for plant pathologists and entomologists, which are scarce skilled, they fall under the occupational dispensation allowance for the department. And we've been managing to keep most of the scientists we have. The vacancies that's open is mostly filled by now, and we don't need currently to establish more posts. We're also following the internal internship programs of the department, which provides then for students that comes into the marketplace an opportunity to obtain some experience. Because it's an occupational dispensation post, they are required when you fill in a 3-year experience in terms of DPSA's qualification rules. That also means then that we've expanded our internship program with University of Pretoria, and that helps us to give experience to additional 3 interns per year. So currently we've got 5 interns that we per year can cater for in the department, which already gives us, or just in the directorate plant health, not even all other directorates. So this already gives us a better turnaround time for in case an experienced scientist resigns or retires. So the continuality of that is already been looked after. I think I've covered everything. If I did not, please indicate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Jan. Honorable Chairperson, that's the extent of our reply for now, but as indicated and as per normal practice, we will also provide written replies. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members. That is the responses from the officials of the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. Are there any follow-up questions? Perhaps while honorable members, you're still thinking on that, allow me to also check with our Parliamentary Legal Services if there are any comments from their side in terms of the bill. Vamos, Zenani.
It's not her chair, it's Mr. Lihotlo.
Oh,
Chair, I'm
Dr. Liotlo.
Chairperson.
Good afternoon. Okay.
It's Vivo Njigela here flying with Lihotlo. I
Yes.
don't know if he can hear you.
Yes, he was about to come in, but you seem to have beat him to it.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will withdraw.
Go ahead, Dr. Liotlo.
You may proceed.
Oh, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson. Good afternoon, Honorable members. I am Lihotlo. About a week or so ago, we distributed a tagging opinion, which was prepared by the Parliamentary Legal Services Division, where we commented on the bill as it was introduced for the first time. And in our opinion, the bill was found to be constitutionally and procedurally in order within the ambit of the law. So we do not at this stage have any issue in particular to address with regards to the legality of the bill. It remains constitutionally and procedurally in order, but we will be part of the committee as deliberations are ongoing in order to provide assistance as and when legal issues arise. That would be our comment for now. Thank you so much, Honorable.
Baunjigela, amasango avuliwe. Any further input on your side?
Chair, I think Ntateli Hotlo has covered me quite well, Chairperson. We have circulated the tagging opinion, and just for completeness, we may state that it is in line with what the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor had said. So in as far as the tagging of the bill as a Section 76, we are pretty comfortable that it is the correct tagging. And like my colleague said, we will be with the committee right through. If legal matters arise in the context of the deliberations, we will be happy to make intervention as and when required to do so. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, it's the input from the Parliamentary Legal Services. Any further input from State Law Advisor? I'll take it now. Honorable members, that is the legal services from Parliament. Are there any follow-up questions? If not, honorable members, allow me to thank you for having attended this meeting on the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, as we were looking back into the plant and health phytosanitary bill. We will look into it with our MENCO for further processing, and we'll revert to the honorable members in terms of our program as to how we will proceed going forward. For now, allow me to thank you for availing yourself for this meeting Also thank the officials of the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development and Parliamentary Legal Services. Honorable members, we thank our staff without whom these meetings would not be possible. So allow me to take the opportunity to thank the Secretariat, our content advisors, the researchers, as well as logistics and our enablers in the IT department to ensure that we have these successful virtual meetings without any glitches. That brings us to the end of our program. I would like to wish you well for the weekend ahead. Get some rest. Those in the borders of Botswana, particularly in the northwest, you are invited to come to a Palestinian Solidarity March in Gaborone, which will be tomorrow morning at 8 until 9:30. We will see you there. If not, those that are in Durban on Sunday, we will have a march on the promenade in Durban. We look forward to seeing those that reside in KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable members, the meeting stands adjourned. Have a lekker weekend and get some rest.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Siyabonga ndaba ezitha kamandi.
Hey.
Recording stopped.
Colleagues, I wanted us to